Hello, everyone. It's Professor Chisholm, and this is GD435, Website Development, and we are already up to our Week 7 conference, and I have to apologize. Last week was a complete train wreck for me, and the one thing I discovered at the end of the week was how much I missed my Macs. Okay, so I have to get that rectified. So my current laptop is not very good, and it drives me up the wall, and I had major problems with it. So I've got to get that rectified. But I'm now home. I have no more traveling, which is a blessing because I'm pretty much exhausted. So I'm here to be able to focus, and I apologize for the delays last week. Okay. Now, this week, we are moving into our desktop and tablet views, okay? But give me just a second. First, again, you do have the resource exercise. It says find a current resource within the last 5 years. That's a website or a video that covers a topic related to what is being worked on. Actually, you guys are coming up with some really good areas. And I know that Figma is relatively new to most of you, and I know so a lot of that's coming up, and that's great, okay? Make sure as I'm going through the mobile devices, I did mention you do have to have that modal, right? That is a project deliverable. We're going to talk about that some more in the mock-up and style for 7.2. Anyways, so again, same thing for the resource exercise. You do not need to make any comments on your peers. Just make sure you're not duplicating any resource that's already been submitted. Now, it can be the same topic, just not the same resource. All right. Now, this week, you are going to do for tablet and desktop viewports. Now, let's take a look at the project for a second because it says it must be fully responsive and work in desktop, tablet, and mobile environments. It says tablet viewport must be presented in both horizontal and vertical orientation. So let me highlight again. Tablet viewport must be presented in both horizontal and vertical orientation. Okay, so most users actually use their tablets in the horizontal. 80% of users use it in horizontal. So you have 20% that use it in vertical now. It's going to change, right? So layout is going to change based on which direction you're going to use the tablet. So you're going to have to do both horizontal and vertical orientation. Now, the other thing that you need to make sure is when applicable, larger viewports must utilize a multiple column layout. Okay, so what I see is that people take their mobile view and all they do is they simply expand it and that becomes their desktop and their tablet. That is not how it works. Okay, so I picked two of the sites that we are dealing with right now. Well, based on, I may minimize some of these other things that I have going on in here. All right, so let's look at this. So if we go take the World Wildlife Federation, and this is the thing. Okay, oh, come on, go down to. So there is, remember, stacked, but you know, this is stacked. This is mobile view. Okay, the thing about mobile is you're not, as a mobile user, you only see what they feel is important. Okay, you only see what the developer feels is important. And it was great when I went to this other site, it brought up a modal. I was like, oh, there's a modal, but I think it disappeared. But anyways, so that if you look at this now, as we expand this, okay, so did you see this ad on TV? It's expanding. Now this is going to be about tablet view, right? So tablet view, we're starting to get a columns. There's columns now coming into play here, right? So if we go back to here, nothing, right? There's no columns. But as we start getting into tablet view, we're starting to see columns. Columns are coming into play. So they don't simply take it and make it bigger. Again, we're starting to see columns. Okay, so this would be portrait, and then we start going into horizontal. Looks almost the same, right? This was down here, but we're still seeing columns, guys. And this is the whole point here, the content expands to include columns. So you need to look at that so you need to have columns. And I'm going to call you all out on it for those that don't do it. Now this is a carousel that they have here. But again, it's using a column system. It's a grid system, guys. So there's a grid. Now, you notice that pretty much horizontal and so the desktop view and the horizontal tablet are pretty much going to look the same. The only difference is that there may be some stacking, a little bit of stacking with your columns for the portrait view. Okay, so you need to look at that. So there's this example, but notice this used to reside underneath here. Now they pulled it out. Okay, so this is what you need to look at. All right. And even if you look at the footer was a single column, and now it's moved to multiple column. Okay. Now, same thing here. This one actually had a mobile. It had a pop-up, otherwise known as a pop-up. That is a project deliverable. If it's on your desktop, it's going to be on all viewports, right? So I need to make sure that I can see that. I don't know if that's a pop-up. Nope, it's not. Let's go back. I know there is one in here because I saw it come up. Okay, again, we have columns, right? So we are seeing columns in here. It's not, one column, it's multiple columns. And then as we start shrinking it down, there's our tablet view. Still pretty much looks the same like our desktop. Then we're probably getting into our portrait view. Now, portrait can have a hamburger. I've seen that. But when we go to the horizontal, it has a navigation. Again, you have to expand out your navigation for this, at least for the horizontal and for the desktop views. But again, you still have columns for your tablet view. And then we go into single column. Now they do have some extra thing here. Now, this is what I like at this one because they've got a nice little subtle button that takes us to the top. But if it's sticky, it's pretty moot, but that's beside the point. Because if you have your navigation sticky, it's not going to go anywhere. They always have the navigation available to them. This is not a slide presentation, right? This is, those are the social media icons, but they have a nice little subtle button that takes you to the top of the page if you need it. All right. So this is what I'm looking for, guys. It's a little bit of work, but now you've already done the hard work because you don't have to do any sketches. You've already done that. So the sketches are all done. You're going to use the design that you're working on for the mobile. Now, remember that, again, I keep asking, you got to have, so there's our little panda bear, that's our icon for this, and our navigation stays in that header area, and everything else, content changes, and our footer area stays the same too across all pages. That's consistency, that's unity, that's what we want. Okay? All right. If you have questions, if you have concerns, let me know. But let's go back into week 7. So you have essentially 3 viewports that you have to do. So you have horizontal, portrait, tablets, views, and then you have your desktop website. And I'll put that in my note as well. And it says also post your mock-up style guide. And this is just mock-ups, guys. Okay, so I just need to see all the pages. I need to see as much as you can give me. You do not need to have content in. You can work on that for weeks 8 and 9. I need to see the layouts. Okay, so I need to see where everything is. Okay, that's going to be in these. All right. It says do not add functionality to your mockups. We'll do this in week 9. All right. So mockups, guys, I just essentially need to see all the layouts, see what they're going to look like, and the more you give me, the better off you're going to be for the later ones, all right? But I definitely need to have sort of the wireframes, okay? All right, that pretty much sums up everything. If you have any questions or concerns, please, by all means, reach out, let me know. Otherwise, keep moving forward, and I will be working on grades today and tomorrow. All right, thank you. All right. See you soon. Bye.